By fire and air, water and earth, we call ye forth to the place of power in the north. Black spirits and white, red spirits and gray, we summon thee to wine, spirits, and witches this day. Hello and welcome to Wine,
Spirits, and Witches. This is Monica.
And this is Shana, and we're your high priestess for this evening. And guess what?
It's not evening.
It's not, which means I gotta drink coffee.
And that's why I have my caffeine. Because it is early. Miss Early here wanted me to come early. So
it's not early. It's like 11:30.
Yeah, it's early.
It's almost 12.
It's early for me. But anyway, here I am.
A tiny little soda for caffeine.
Yeah, I did.
That gets you through your day?
No.
Okay.
No. This is the only one I'll have today, though. I've been really good in drinking a lot of water lately, so I'm proud of myself.
Christmas
Proud
miracle.
of you.
Yeah, it is a miracle.
Yeah.
So as long as it has ice, I'm okay.
With Monica?
Ooh, she's somewhere else right now. Mm-hmm.
And we actually have Ricky joining us for the first time in a million years.
Yeah.
Cueing the clapping soundbite.
There we go.
There you go.
Well, pumpkin slut season has arrived.
It sure has, and I see you have your...
Actually, I switched it up. This is not pumpkin.
Is
but
it
the day
gingerbread?
is young. It's no, it's not seasonal for gingerbread. This is the shaken apple crisp oat milk espresso.
Okay.
It's really good. It's good. I am enjoying it. But again, the day is young. It's not early, but the day is young. So I still have time to go get a pumpkin something or other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go take my ass down there and get one too, because I do like them.
Yeah.
They're
It's
tasty.
just indulge a little bit, you know.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, today we're talking about creatures of the craft.
You're right, mystical creatures of the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Which there are many.
I think this is going to be a part one because there really is
a lot of them.
A
lot of them. Yeah. So we chose certain ones between us, and yeah.
Did you choose any that you actually work with in your own practice, though?
Let's see. The fairies, yes.
Okay,
fairies,
yeah,
for sure.
I chose gargoyles because I do work with them.
I love gargoyles. I love them.
Yeah,
I do love them.
I do. I love them. The other two that I chose, I do not work with, but I do work with gargoyles, so I thought that was cool. Do we have any announcements? Anything? I don't think so. I think we can
just dive in. We'll do announcements later.
Yeah, I don't even think I don't think we have announcements, do we?
Yeah, we do. About our classes, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I guess you guys gotta wait till the end for that.
Yes, indeed.
Ricky's giving me this look. We did just talk about this. I totally forgot.
Yeah, I didn't, though. So.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
It takes a coven.
It does. It takes a team here, yes.
Go ahead. Take us through what you got.
Okay. I am going to start with the magical, mystical unicorn. And the word comes from the Latin unicornus, meaning having one horn. And it resembles a horse. I think everyone knows what a unicorn looks like, with a single horn on its forehead. It is the symbol of the sun and long life.
Of the sun?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it originates from India, Africa, China, and also from Christianity. The apple tree is its home. And using apple blossom fragrance used in a meditation to help draw the unicorn out in the open. Also, it is for purity of heart and gentle, loving innocence.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as like apple trees go, or being like a symbol of the sun, I mean, I would have thought rainbows. Maybe I'm a little too Lisa Frank.
Maybe.
I do know that they are mentioned actually in the Bible, in like one of the older versions of the Bible.
Right.
My cousin's mom, bless this woman, she is like a very wonderful sun-dried hippie. You know what I mean? She's an oddball. And so like she found a Bible at like a thrift store or something, and she flipped through it and happened to find the page where it was mentioned.
Wow.
Yeah, and so she was thrilled, and she took a picture of it.
Cool.
And like, yeah, she was really into that. We think that it might have meant rhinoceros.
Yeah.
Right?
Some people like, they confuse it with rhinoceros. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could like reference a rhino. I'm a pervert. One horn. Maybe unicorns aren't as rare as we think they are.
Maybe.
But I mean, then what do you say? They're supposed to be symbols of purity.
Yes, and it says encounters can bring underlying things of purity and chastity and powers of sexuality.
Yeah, because that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
They're also the official animal of Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of my my crest, my Cunningham crest is
it
2
a
unicorns. Yeah, 2 unicorns. It's crazy.
She's double horned.
Woo, 2.
Yeah.
They hold the knowledge of alchemy and stimulates healing and can purify water through its presence. Just by its presence, it purifies water.
Okay, we need to dump like a truckload of these fuckers into the ocean.
And take them on your camping trips when you can't find water to drink.
I mean, who needs a fucking life straw when you have a unicorn?
Well,
That's where life straws come from.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
See?
Yeah, so that's what I have on the unicorn. What do you have?
I like that, actually. That's pretty cool.
Isn't it cool? Yeah.
I want to know if any of you guys work with them magically. Like, I'd love to know more about that relationship and how you do that. Well, we're going to just dive in with gargoyles, actually, is what I want to start with. I adore them. I have one that I've had the statue since I was in middle school. I can't believe that it's just lasted and come with me this long, Like, I think that's really cool. It recently got moved. It was by my front door.
I remember that.
But the baby found it and started trying to attack it.
Uh-oh.
Because toddlers are actually evil spirits, in case anyone wanted to know.
They're part of the mystical realm, too.
Yes, they are. So now he lives by my back door, actually. And protects back there, which is fine, because we got people that live back there and stuff like that. So that needs protection as well.
Yes.
So gargoyles are French, and the name gargoyle comes from the French word for throat, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce. You can, if you feel like it.
No.
Wow.
La gargoyle.
Can you into the mic one more time?
La gargoyle.
I know that we have a couple listeners that live in France, so
so please correct us. Yes,
please. I would love that. Well, one time, a long time ago, when we had our debate on athame versus athame, one of our French listeners, I think his name is Luca, actually sent me a voice message on how it's said and stuff like that. So that was really cool. So if you're listening, please let me know how to say that. But so they started as like architecture, and so you would see them all over these buildings. They really started getting tied into lore because they started being put on cathedrals and churches and stuff like that, and they were actually a drainage system. Yeah, and that's why you usually see them, like, their mouth is open, and it's because to be a true gargoyle, there needs to be an opening for the water to come in and then a spout for the water to go out. It was a drainage system to help protect buildings from the wear and tear of water.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, there's another thing that's called a grotesque, which often gets confused with gargoyles, but those are actually Roman. And I believe that they're older than gargoyles because the grotesques were actually discovered in, I think, the late 1500s.
Wow.
But they had been, like, dug up. They had been buried. And then they began to be imitated. But I think grotesques were more just in art. You see a lot of them in pictures and, like, sculptures that are more laid into the facade of buildings and stuff versus gargoyles, which are mounted on buildings and are the watchers.
Right.
So they started getting tied in with a lot of the pagan stuff because we started seeing them pop up on cathedrals and churches, which in today's day and age sounds kind of confusing, but back then it was very common to see pagan symbolism tied into churches. Just like there was a really big thing, I think it was in the 80s when that band in Norway started burning down churches. What band was that again? Mayhem. When they started burning down all the churches, one of the reasons why, like, so many people were so sad about it was the churches that they were burning down were really old and actually had, like, these poles that were almost like totem poles kind of in there with, like, carvings of Odin and shit. Yeah, so, like, those were, like, all, so it's very common to kind of see things like that in churches. Anyway, so they started being seen as not just protecting the building from rain, but also protecting the churches and cathedrals from the evil spirits that might try and attack it. And so it all kind of came together. And it's the word, like I said, it originates from the word throat in French. And part of it is because people think it's the sound that they make when they're, like, releasing the water. That's almost like a gargle. It's a very throaty sound.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense.
Gargle and gargoyle.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. But there is another story about them and how they might have been seen as protector spirits. And it's because Saint Romanus, I think is how you would say his name, actually slayed a dragon. And when he went, he saved this town from this dragon, which his name was also the French word for throat. So we're just going to call him Le Gargoyle because, like I said, I'm not even going to try and butcher that word. They tried to burn the dragon's body afterwards to destroy it after St. Romanus has killed it. But since dragons can breathe fire, they weren't able to burn its neck up to its head. And so instead they mounted it onto a church and a cathedral to protect it. And so he was kind of the first gargoyle.
Wow.
And so that's where it came from. So you can get statues of gargoyles because now we have adopted them as creatures and spirits that we can work with in the craft.
As protectors.
As protectors. Yes. People think that they come awake at night and stuff like that and do their thing. There's actually a really cool cartoon in the 90s.
I was just going to say that as well, yes.
I think that was like my first introduction.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, gargoyles. I loved that cartoon. But yeah, you can get them. You can put them like on the corners of your house. There's little statues that you can kind of put around. And all you got to do is give it a name and tell it that it needs to protect you. And what I always do is tell it that it can eat any negativity, any evil, and any ill intent that might be trying to come to my house. Like that is what it gets to fill itself up on.
And now is the season, since we're going into Halloween, that they're plentiful in
Even
many stores.
At dollar stores.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So go grab a gargoyle as your guardian and protector of the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what you got next?
I have the Griffin, which is a lion's body. It's either winged or wingless on a bird's head, usually an eagle. And it represents power and wisdom. And it comes from ancient Greece. That's where it originates from, and the Middle East. It also symbolizes heaven and earth, spirit and matter, good and evil, guardian and avenger. Often avenger of the fairies and elves, guarding their realm. They also protect and guard gold. They work with storms, and to encounter one is to encounter great magic and power. He has a sense of hearing, a really keen sense of hearing. He's faster than lightning. Generally, within 3 days after an encounter, if it was a true encounter, there will be a thunderstorm or a lightning storm. And also, you can possibly find a feather because he is the keeper of feathers. And as you know, when we go feather hunting, when I don't find my feathers, I scream at the Griffin because he's not providing me with a feather.
I didn't know you were screaming at the Griffin. I thought you were just screaming into the
No,
sky
I was
void.
screaming at the Griffin. Where's my feathers? Come on. Bless me with one.
Maybe you need to leave an offering to like a Griffin before
Right,
you go
right.
feather hunting.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, gold. They like gold.
Oh, I mean, who fucking doesn't?
Wow. Yeah.
I found 2 raven feathers within 24 hours of each other.
Nice.
Last week, so
Very
I guess
nice.
the goth Griffin was
smiling
wicked on me.
Okay,
yeah.
that's awesome. Good for you. What do you
Is
got?
there a difference between a griffin and a hippogriff? What's the difference?
There is a difference.
What is the difference? Can you Google it? I just need to know because I grew up on Harry Potter. I read the books as a kid. Okay. And then we have the amazing movie series that came out, the Fantastic Beasts. I think it's so good. I love it. But there's a lot of mythical creatures that are tied into both of those series that actually really do have good roots in like the actual mythology of these creatures, which I know none of us love J.K. Rowling. I know she's canceled. She's a bitch. But you can hate the artist and still love the art. That's how I can still listen to the Smiths and stomach that and Misfits. So, gotta give credit where credit's due, I guess.
Griffin is a mythical animal that is part lion and part eagle, and the hippogriff is part eagle and part horse.
Oh,
okay. There we go. Well, since we're talking about Harry Potter and creatures that show up in this series, let's talk about the basilisk, because that's who else I have. The basilisk, it's really interesting. So when you hear basilisk, a lot of people think of Harry Potter because that's where so many people first saw it, and it's just this giant, like, murderous, like, serial killer snake, right? That's what everyone kind of thinks of.
Yes.
But it's actually...
a lizard, right?
Ish. So it comes from Roman or Greek mythology, depending on who you ask. We'll say where it came from. It probably came from Greece. I feel like they did everything first.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So the basilisk is called the Serpent King or the King of the Serpents, but it's hatched from the egg of a chicken that is incubated by a toad.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like a toad, and depending on where you read, there's like variations of it where it's like either or a frog or a toad sits on it to hatch it, and that's how you get a basilisk.
Wow.
Now there's another thing which I did not write down its name, which is very similar, and so when you look up a basilisk, this other creature will come up in the lore as well very often.
Okay.
But that one, it is when a chicken sits on a frog egg to get it. And that's kind of the difference. And I've also seen where it has to very specifically for a basilisk be a rooster egg. Like the egg that has a rooster inside.
Huh.
Which I don't know if you can, how you can predict that. Because you can with alligators. Like, because the sex changes of the egg depending on the heat of incubation. So if you needed more female or male, if you were like doing this, like breeding them in captivity, you can adjust your incubator to create whatever gender you need, which is really fascinating.
It is.
So these guys are kind of like a griffin and a hippogriff in the sense that they're kind of like a mashup of animals. So they have a rooster head, a lizard body, and like it says the tail of a serpent, but I mean like it's got like a lizard tail, so it's got this like reptile-esque body, and then 8 chicken legs.
Oof.
And a lot of things, it's like there is a lot of mythology with it, but like some people will say that like it was real and that it's just extinct now. And it's probably because I mean it's got 8 chicken legs and a lizard body. Like that's good eating.
Ooh.
You know, you could feed a whole family on that.
Damn, yeah, right? Go find one.
But there is an actual animal, like an actual real life lizard that is called a basilisk. So
is
like,
there?
yeah.
Oh yes, there is. That's right.
So when you were saying that, I just kind of laughed, and they're cool looking because they kind of look like iguanas, but more dinosaur-esque.
Yeah.
Like they look really cool. And those ones are not venomous. This guy is venomous as shit. So first of all, its gaze can petrify you. Like if you look in its eyes, like you will become petrified. Very similar to what we saw in Harry Potter. And so what a lot of people were doing is they would carry mirrors with them, because it was thought like you could make it look in the mirror and it would petrify itself instead.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. The other thing was that the crow of a rooster was supposed to like disable it in some way. So none of these things actually killed it, but it like disabled it. So a lot of travelers through Greece and Rome actually started carrying roosters with them on their travels because they needed protection from a basilisk.
Wow.
Right? The other thing is that the odor of a weasel could kill it.
Of all things.
A weasel. And I think it's because we see so much of the lore around the mongoose killing the cobra and stuff like that.
Right.
And so they think that there is a tie there, how that was seen into mythology between the snake and the mongoose, that we now have the basilisk and the weasel. But whenever this would happen, the weasel would also die. And it's because aside from its gaze, the basilisk also is insanely venomous. And so it was thought like, in my head, I see it almost like a trail of like snail slime, you know, because it's just like it would leave venom in its wake wherever it went. And so basilisks were believed to live under the ground. And so people would like shove weasels into these holes to go and like try and kill the basilisk, but they thought that the weasels were also getting poisoned by just the venomous ground. Which also makes me wonder if basilisks were like blamed for like bad crops or anything.
Probably.
Like, oh, my crops didn't do well because there's a basilisk in my farm.
Yeah,
you know, you never know. Maybe. But there was a lot of like things about like them being really hard to kill as far as like warriors and stuff going out to kill them, because there is a story where this guy stabbed one with a spear, and that the basilisk was so venomous that the venom traveled up the spear and killed not just the guy, but the horse the dude was on.
Oh.
So fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Like, I wonder if that's where that came from. You know?
Maybe.
But like trying to tie that in with like a magical thing, I can see how these are like a dragon's really angry cousin.
Yeah.
Almost. And they were thought in some beliefs, like people thought that they could breathe fire. And there are some like depictions of them with wings, so like they could be tied in with dragons. I feel like if I mean, if you work with like darker and more intense spirits and magic, like a basilisk might actually be an ally for you to maybe try and work with. I feel like they would be insanely protective if you could work it that way, or really good for baneful magic.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like birds in general, so I'll probably just stay away from all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like birds of prey, and I like birds at a distance.
Yeah, I like birds, but I actually don't feel like I have any like in my spiritual practice.
I mean,
too
I
much.
do like birds of prey, though.
Yeah.
You know,
I like ravens.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I that's such a basic witch thing to say.
Yeah.
You know, so. But yeah, so if any of you guys want to work with a basilisk, I mean, what would you give them as an offering? Do you think?
Food.
What kind?
Flesh, human flesh.
Human flesh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess that would work.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
we're not going to be killing any humans to feed.
You
them
wouldn't
fucking
be.
thing. No.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
No.
So
That's
full of
for
shit.
sure.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, she would.
No, I
Don't believe her.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I guess raw meat.
Raw
just in
meat. Yeah.
general,
Well, yeah. Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
You could leave
that would
them
work.
like raw meat. I think that would be a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, that would work.
I keep wanting to say something about chickens, but I feel like that's a little cannibalistic for them.
I think so. Yeah.
They might be into it. Chickens are cannibals.
That's true.
So
That is true.
You know. All right, what you got?
I got the gnomes. The gnomes. That's Shauna's
My
favorite.
favorite.
Shauna's
You know,
favorite.
I'm
But they
warming up
grew
to
on
them.
you.
They have, and it's because when Felix was a little bit younger, he looked like a gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He did look like a
I've
gnome.
grown to kind of like them. I don't think they've grown to like me.
Well, you know, it's funny because my very first teacher in New Jersey, Bobby John, she would tell us the story that she called herself the Catholic witch. She would go to church on Sunday and then come back and talk to the gnomes in her yard. And I thought that was so interesting, yeah. But anyway, they represent good luck, protection, nature, fertility, playfulness. They are the protectors of the earth, and they represent stability and grounding, agriculture, and they hail from the Germany's Black Forest, and they live underground.
For wealth too, because they're wealth for like abundance, right?
Wealth, yes. Well, I think that's more leprechaun.
Well, because I remember Vinny telling us that if you leave a saucer of cream and honey,
that's for the fairies.
But he said something about gnomes too. There's something,
really?
But yeah, or you leave, maybe it's just cream, but you do something like that for gnomes and they'll bring you money.
Oh, let's put some honey and milk out then for sure.
Not right now, because you'll just attract bugs.
Right,
You'll get an abundance of insects.
Bugs. Yeah, we don't want that. They do live underground. And they insist us in trying and working with the Earth's magic, because that's where, you know, they're definitely
They're Earth elementals.
They're Earth, yes. So gnomes. I know Shauna's not. I always loved little gnomes. So
I have 2 gnomes now that Courtney gave me, and one has like a little pineapple for a hat. So like that's cool. And then the other one's smoking a cigar and giving you the finger.
Oh,
so
I like that one too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I like those guys.
Yeah. That's all I have on the gnomes.
They're cool.
How many people have seen gnomes? Tell us. Write in.
I mean,
Let
you
us
guys
know.
have all heard my story about gnomes. I might actually share it at the campfire.
Okay.
It's not quite a ghost story, but it's
kind of scary.
It's supernatural.
Creepy.
It's scary, yeah. The
I
dark
think so.
side of gnomes. I've shared it on the show before. I think like at the beginning when we first started this podcast. But
there's a funny meme on Instagram. I've seen it a couple times where it's like, oh, European cryptids are like gnomes, and like, hey, cheers, you know, drinking beer, and then it goes to America and it's like skinwalkers, like ready to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of shows the difference there. No, I'm pretty sure. Well, the basilisk is a cryptid from Europe, so that's like old.
Yeah.
I wonder how old like gnome lore goes back.
I think it goes back
really
long
far.
last time. Yeah.
Well, I have one more for you guys.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
So what I originally tried to do was go and find a magical creature from both of like where I hail from. So we did basilisk to cover Italy because like part of their origin is in Rome.
Okay.
So now we're going to Hawaii.
All right.
And we're going to talk about Manahoonies.
Surf's up, bruh.
I think it's more like California surfers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more just hang loose, make rice. Right? Yeah. Anyway, okay. So Manahuni, the first time that I ever heard about a Manahuni when I was a little kid, if something like went missing, my grandmother would be like, "Oh, the Manahuni got it." Like that's what she would say, and like they would call me the little Manahuni, which is hilarious now because I'm so fucking short. And Manahunis,
and all that's up.
It does, because the Manahunis are only like 2 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're kind of like the equivalent to like a Hawaiian fairy, or like a Hawaiian leprechaun kind of thing. Like is how they were described to me as a little kid. But upon further research, it's actually interesting because they might actually have been a real person. Ooh, like a real type of people. Like there is now a belief out there that it's a strong possibility that they were like the original settlers of the island.
Wow.
Of the islands, and that as like the Tahitians and the Polynesians went and settled there, they got pushed back into the mountains further and further. Mm-hmm. And this theory is kind of backed up because now like there's actually a census from I think 1820 that has it on record of 65 Manahuni living on Kauai.
Damn.
Right? Like how crazy is that? And there is a belief now that they're on one of the smaller islands that like is less inhabited and traveled. I think Necker Island is what I read. So they still might be there. So that's kind of like a belief that they're not actually like this mythical creature, but actually an actual indigenous person. So that's really fascinating.
That is.
So they're, for the most part, they're very good spirited. As far as like their lore goes, you know, they're very good spirited. They're very nice. They're not super social. They're actually nocturnal, and it's to avoid people and humans and stuff like that. And they're kind of revered for their craftsmen and their engineering skills. So they're builders. And so like there's like certain like fish ponds and like aqueducts almost, and even like temples that you can find on the islands that they think that the Manahuni built.
Nice.
And they also did like, there's a couple like really beautiful statues that they built and stuff like that. So they it's thought that they'll assist you in your projects if they approve of what you're doing. And if they don't approve of it, like you'll get equipment malfunctions and something will always go wrong, so you can never keep building things, and it's because the Manahuni are interfering with it.
Love that.
Yeah, right? I thought it was kind of cool. And it's kind of thought that they haunt places, and part of it is because like if the Manahuni live in your house, it's actually like really good luck. And if you see one, like it is just like a sign of just like, even better luck. And the way that I've always kind of seen it, it's almost like they just stand really still when you're around, and then they try and like skirt out of the way so people will catch them out of the corner of their eye. And so there's like a whole thing on people that think that they've seen them, and they have like their own reports and stuff, which is really cool.
That is cool.
And they actually have little arrows with them that if they pierce your heart with them, which sounds kind of scary, but it's like they shoot angry people. Right? Okay. And if their arrow kind of connects to your heart, it changes that energy of anger to love and to like calm and peace.
Like Cupid.
Cupid is more love.
Okay, yeah. Well,
these guys aren't like love, like I love you. It's more just like.
But they changed it to love.
They changed it to the aloha spirit, basically. Okay. You know, that's kind of how I see it. So they're pretty cool like that. If you want to give them an offering, because a well-timed and well-intended offering is all the things, you can give them cookies and other sweets. So they do like those. And the other thing that's actually really cute, if any of you guys have been to Hawaii, you know that there's always something under construction, like always. And so there will be like the official like signs that'll say like men at work and stuff like that. And there's little drawings of Manahunis on there. So like kind of honor that. Yeah, they're like the most popular mythical creature / cryptid from the islands that is kind of more heard of. So I thought they were pretty cool, and they're definitely like nature spirits. And I thought that giving them offerings and asking them to protect the land is a really wonderful thing to do, especially right now, everything that just happened in Maui, like leaving some offerings and asking the Manahuni for help is actually a really wonderful idea to help rebuild. If you want to help rebuild, Ricky, who did you say had some really good?
Kelly Slater
posted on Instagram, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's where I follow him.
Okay, yeah, Kelly Slater's posted on Instagram a lot of really good resources for places that you can donate to try and help.
That actually give money to families.
Yeah, that actually give the money to the families, so it actually goes to the people that really need it instead of just lining the pockets of big organizations. So if you guys want to donate, if you guys want to do something, send some love to the Manahunis and send some kini over to one of those charities. So So that's who I got. I
Very
got
good.
Manahoonies.
I like that one. That was very interesting.
Right? They're cute, huh?
Yeah, I like them.
Oh, like you.
Oh, they're so cute. These are cute.
You're too tall. You're like two Manahoonies stacked together.
Yeah. I'm not. No. Okay. I have the satyr. Ooh.
Never heard that one.
No, part man, part beast, resembles goats or horses, half and half. They are drunk and highly sexual spirits who chased after women and drank wine, seducing nymphs and mortal women as well. They're found in Greek and Roman mythology. They live in the woods, and sometimes they are depicted carrying a club or an axe. They are associated with Pan.
Yeah, like he's a satyr.
Yeah, and he's the chief of the satyrs, right? And they also are followers of Dionysus, because he likes the wine. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're very skilled in music, just like Pan. Plays his panpipes, lures the women in, and then
fucking musicians. Let me tell you,
typical musician, right? Oh my God, so true. And they are very skilled in music, so. Yeah, stay away from those satyrs. I remember, oh my God, years ago at a...
Monica doesn't stay away from the satyrs.
Yeah, I'll invite them in. We had a Halloween party and someone actually came dressed as a satyr.
Oh, that's awesome.
Vinny was there.
Really
Vinny
cool.
was there. It was really cool. They had a fake appendage, penile, out of their costume.
This is a rated R podcast. So
you should see like the
hand motions.
The hand motions that are going on
like a true Italian.
Yeah. So they look really cool.
That's really cool. There's really cool like shoes now that are like made like high heels basically, but to look like goat hoofs and stuff. Yeah, they're really cool looking.
Interesting.
I think that's awesome.
I do.
Well, satyrs and their time of year is like Beltane.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Anytime that you need to get a little freaky deaky, I feel like
go to the woods and
musicians and frat boys are descended from them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, you would think that there should be like some symbolism in frat houses to
right?
satyrs. I mean, maybe there is. I don't think I actually know a frat boy to ask that question. Any of you guys know any frat boys? Can you ask that? Do any of them know what satyrs are? Can we start instilling that there's like a little like
connection?
Yeah, we need to make this happen.
Yes. I have one more.
Lay it on
I figured, this one is like everybody has heard of fairies, right? The beloved fairies, right?
You're the only one that I know that calls them beloved. Usually when I hear people, fairies, don't fuck with them.
Well, you know what? They are mischievous. Some of them are very mischievous. But there's so many different kind of fairies. There's flower fairies. There's trooping fairies. There's so many different kind of fairies. And they're also known as fae, the fae. They assist people in helping with their crops, and they teach the lunar and solar cycles of planting to people. And there's a myth about them in all the countries all over the world. They have their own little fairy story. Everybody has a fairy in their country. It's amazing. So that leads me to believe that there's got to be something to it, right? Because everybody has a myth or a story about it.
I mean, you know what? I think when it comes to mythical creatures, I think it's really similar to cryptids and aliens. Like, I really do believe that they're a thing. Maybe not all of them, and maybe not in the respect that, like, the fame that they've grown to have, but I feel like it's there. Like, why wouldn't it be? Like Bigfoot. Like, I think Bigfoot's real.
Oh, yeah, totally. He's, totally real.
Do you think Bigfoot's real?
Come on, Ricky.
I can't deny that he's not.
Okay, there you go. Because we're going to see him one day. You know that, right?
You're going to smell him first.
I had a whole fucking plan when we went to Washington that I was going to have Ricky and Jordan in on to help Monica think that she had a Bigfoot encounter. And Jordan wouldn't do it because he's too fucking nice and he thought it was mean.
Yeah, he likes me, so he wouldn't do that to me.
Well, you know what?
I would have done it.
Yeah, see?
Well, that's the Mexican way.
I would have known.
There you go.
I would have known. Yeah, so anyway.
You know what? Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
Because while we're still, because Monica's with her penis hand motions here and everything else, going back to fucking Bigfoot. When we drove back from Washington, first of all, she's an amazing road trip buddy because she is quiet as shit and never asked to pee.
Yeah,
and
good.
So like I
didn't
buddy.
Even know that she was awake.
And finally she's like, can I listen to my podcast after, because she'd been listening to like true crime podcasts for I don't know how long. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we put on her Bigfoot Chronicles,
Sasquatch Chronicles.
There
Great show. Great show.
Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yeah, shout out to
Shout out to them.
Sasquatch
Yes,
Chronicles.
absolutely.
And I had never heard it before. And of course, like the fucking episode that we listened to, it's like basically like people call in and talk about
their encounters. Yes.
And the whole like 7 minutes that I tried to give this, it was just this guy talking about Sasquatch's nostrils and his dick.
Yeah. Well, they described them on the show.
Yeah, it's like really like I feel like there's like a whole thing out there
as if Sasquatch is like teabagging people.
But like it's like there's like a whole thing, like it's like, and I'm not kink shaming, you do you guys, whatever you guys want to fucking do, as long as it's legal and consensual, whatever. But there's like a whole thing out there, just people like obsessed with Sasquatch dick.
You know what?
Like
you know what? There's a company that makes like fantasy dildos.
Is there a Sasquatch one?
No, but they should make one.
What is this company called?
Bad Dragon.
Bad Dragon? All right, hey, Bad Dragon, we need a Sasquatch dick, and when you do, we get 10%.
Yeah, and we get one too. Send us one. Thank you. Yeah. We need one, for sure, okay?
She needs it for science.
Science purposes only.
For sword fights.
For research purposes, okay? Yeah. But you know what? On that show, Sasquatch Chronicles, people do call in and talk about giants and little people that they've seen. It's not, sometimes there'll be stories about that.
I've actually gotten more into cryptids lately. Like, it started to pique my interest more and more.
Yeah.
So, I might give Sasquatch Chronicles another try.
Give it another try, because they have a lot of good stories about the skinwalkers and all that stuff.
Yeah, she talked it up, and then when we heard that episode, we're like...
Just Sasquatch.
We're like, fuck, like, Monica, like, this is so boring. She's like, yeah, that was a bad episode. Yeah, no disrespect to them. That portion of that episode was just like... What the fuck am I listening to?
I mean, in hindsight, it was really funny, but I was just expecting something a little, like, scary or intense.
Well, there are episodes like that. Yeah. I mean, I have a few of my favorite that would knock your socks off.
I think we're going to have to I know we've talked about Bigfoot before, but I think we're going to have to do a whole other one after Bad Dragon sends us our Sasquatch dildos.
Yes.
Can we all write them and tell them that Monica needs a Sasquatch dildo? Help me make this happen.
It's my birthday coming in November.
Up. Come on, we need to make this happen. Come on. Okay, Fairies, go ahead.
Okay. So, as the natural world became concrete and more tame, humans stopped listening to the fairies. But animals and young children are still in tune to that, because they're not corrupted by our society yet, and they are so open, and they're the ones that you see
with the sight
talking to them. Yes, talking to little fairies. I mean, I always remember my babies, and I used to say they speak fluent fairy, because they would do this little chattering thing, and I don't know who they were talking to. Anyway,
I feel like I would freak out, because I know at some point Felix will probably have an imaginary friend.
Well, he was talking in the closet. You're like, who are you talking
that's
to?
What it was. Yeah, he was talking to someone in the closet, and I'm not like, oh, cute, it's fairies. I'm like, oh, fuck no, it's a ghost. Get the camphor, get the fucking holy water.
I just think it was your robe, your pink one. I think it was your pink robe he was talking to, because he likes that one. He likes the way it feels.
But who was in that robe? Okay. So some of the signs of fairy encounters is quick movements at the side of your eye, just like the ones in Hawaii. A flickering of lights.
I've seen that. I've seen like this little sparkle like float across a room before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Strong fragrance of trees or flowers as you're walking by. That's them greeting you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Music or singing coming from unidentified places. That's what I get all the time. I told you I hear music at night. Remember I tell you?
Oh, yeah, you have. Well, you also had too much of a gummy and thought that the light on your TV became a spaceship, so...
No, but this happened even before the gummies were invented, okay?
No, yeah, you have talked about that before.
Things disappearing and reappearing because they're mischievous. Unexplained loss of time.
I have had that happen. I definitely... It's... fucking not like, oh wow, that passed by really fast. Like, you lose time. It is mind-boggling and slightly unsettling.
Yes. And some of the places where you can see some fairies are where streams divide, intersections of roads, beaches and seashores, Fences and border hedges, islands, thresholds, bends in the road, stairwells and basements, tidal pools, and glades in the woods. Leave an area in your yard like unkept. They like wild. They like to be in the wild spaces of your yard. You know, they don't like it where it's groomed. They're
not fans of horticulture.
Yeah, that's where they gather. And they also gather when children are playing and where there's lots of song and music going on. They love that.
That's kind of cool.
And they range, believe it or not, from very small to very big. Okay, so
I was really hoping you were going to have something perverted going on with the fairies, but you just skimmed right over that. They're not your type, huh?
But, you know, you're
into 20-year-olds and Sasquatch. If you guys if you're on Patreon, then you guys got that blooper of Monica talking about her adventures on her Instagram DM.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
That joke will make a lot more sense to you guys.
Yeah, I had an encounter, and I told you about that years ago.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
and I had actually 2 encounters because there was someone in my coven years ago who was very connected to the fairies. And the first one was we were in ritual and we heard this giggle, and only him and I heard it. And I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "Yes." "Did you hear the giggle?" And no one else heard it.
Oh, wow.
So that was like 2 people. And then the other one that I saw, remember, at my daughter's house, I was blown away. And I was so excited because I had to get there at some ungodly hour of the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, because I had to go to work, and the baby was still asleep in her crib, and I would just lay on the couch and just like kind of doze and wait till she wakes up. But as I was laying there one day and the sun was rising, it cast a shadow on the wall of this unkept little area of plants and flowers in front. And then all of a sudden things start to come alive, and I was blown away. I see the little wings fluttering, and it was amazing. And I just laid there for like an hour until the sun shifted and it was no longer. But I was so excited that I actually got a glimpse into the fairy realm. It was really amazing. And I kid you not, it was. I watched it, and it was awesome. And that first person I called was him, and I said, "Guess what? I just had a visual," or whatever you wanted to call it. But fairies are like all over. People love fairies. There's all beautiful pictures of fairies. I have a big one in my bedroom as well. But I like fairies. You like fairies?
Got a big one.
I got a big one in my room, guys.
Big one. Can you show us how big 6 inches is?
6 inches. I'm getting better.
That's a little realistic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, you're getting better at that.
Yeah. I'm getting better at that, yeah.
She started up here, though. She had to shrink it. I've seen like little like sparkles of light and stuff like that. I've definitely been in areas that I know that there was a lot of fairies at.
It's the squiggly lines in your eyes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly, Ricky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I remember there was a ritual that we were at. It was a public ritual at Green Man, and there's a bunch of people there, and you were sitting down for it, and so was Sherry. This was, I think, when her ankle had broken.
Right.
And afterwards, you guys each came up to me and were like, "You had a naked fairy on you during that working."
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was
that
completely
oblivious.
Sexually harassed by a fairy and had no idea. I don't remember what the ritual was for. I wish I could remember what that ritual was for to know if it made sense. But
yeah, that was awesome. I remember that because I remember glancing over and seeing that. It was like, what?
That's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
But they do move things because
they're assholes.
Yeah, that's going to be part of the story I will be telling in our class this week, or our gathering for
on Saturday, ghost stories around the campfire. So if any of you guys are in LA and you want to make it down, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a bonfire. We're going to tell ghost stories and just stories of just supernatural encounters that we've had. Ricky will be there, and he's actually going to talk about some of his ghost stories because he's he doesn't know that yet, but there we go. He knows now.
Bring some spirits to drink if you like.
We will have hot chocolate and we will have marshmallows. It's going to be so
much
fun. With
Baileys?
Maybe.
The option will be there.
Do you guys want to drink Baileys with Old Greg?
Please
Not out
come
of a
and
shoe.
Drink with me.
So come check it out. It's going to be at Green Man. You can sign up at thegreenmanstore.com. I'm super excited for it. We did this once many, many moons ago, pre-COVID, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And it was also really educational because so many different people came and had different experiences.
Yes,
so
to share.
Yeah.
Many
so
of them hadn't even heard of the show, which was kind of funny.
You're thinking of the Tea Party.
I am thinking of the Tea Party.
Yeah, you're thinking of, I know, that was the most bizarre.
That was fun, though.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun, but when I asked the audience, who here listens to the show? No one raised their hand. I was like,
there was a hand.
Spencer and Emily.
There was a couple people, yeah.
That was
Shout
it.
Spencer and Emily.
What?
Yeah.
Shout out Spencer and Emily.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was so crazy.
I actually saw him walking down the street. I didn't realize till I was already closing my door. I was like, oh, it's him because he lives around here.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, occasionally we see him when we're walking the dogs and our tiny creature, you know.
Yeah, but so come on by and join us.
Yes.
We're going to have some fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So come join us September 9th. We hope to see you there.
Yeah, and I'm also starting a Wicca 101 class on the following day.
Are you going to do a graduation ritual for them?
Yes, and I always do a ritual at the end of the course because we put together a ritual. That's the accumulation of the class, yes.
Yeah, so come check it out. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I don't have a date yet, but I'm putting together a haunted object seance.
Nice.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of interesting haunted dolls. There's going to be a set of haunted table legs.
Ooh.
That's a whole thing. Like, who knows? Maybe they'll come to life and kick you. Who knows? We'll find out.
I'll kick it right
We'll
now.
We'll find out. Who is your shout out to?
I'm going to just shout out to all the Patreons out there today that are supporting us and all the people that listen to the show. Thank you very much. That's my shout out today.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you for all of our Patreon folks. We have more things coming your way. We hope that you guys are enjoying all the extra content. If any of you guys want to join, you can go to, I believe it's patreon.com/winespiritsandwitches. You'll find us. You can sign up. We are currently working on a new add-on that we will be putting on for all of the Patreon tiers, which will be discounts to all of our classes. Mm-hmm. So we will keep you posted on that. And my shout out, oh, by the way, I just posted it on Patreon if you guys haven't listened to it yet. I talk about me and Ricky talk about our experience. Ricky and I talk about our experience at the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum.
Okay.
So that was a really fun episode to record. Actually, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. My shout out is to Maud Lavender. She is super cool. She listens to our show.
Okay.
She and I follow each other on Instagram. I think it's the Moth Fairy.
Okay.
On Instagram is her handle. You guys should go check her out because she does like a lot of different like really whimsical, cool like fashion stuff. I love that she's mounted fairy wings on her wall so that when she stands there, it looks like she has wings. Like
That's
it's really
cool.
She's very creative, very whimsical. So hi, shout out to you. Thank you for listening and just being awesome.
Yes.
So that's all I got. What about you?
That's all I got too, girl.
All right. Well, go forth and play with magical creatures. And
yes, we'll have a part 2.
yeah, we will have a part 2. Let us know.
There's so many. There's so many to cover.
Yeah, let us know what magical creatures do you guys want to learn about.
Yeah, let us know.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Merry meet.
Merry part and merry meet again.